Hey everyone, we're back. And, just a quick backstory why I'm answering questions here. In 2023 is when we started planning my daughter's quinceañera. And then in 2024 is when we celebrated my daughter's quinceañera. And it was last year in 2025 that I published my book, Rite of the Quinceañera. So over the last 3 years, I've gotten a lot of questions, and some of them have been consistent, repetitive. Even after 3 years, I'm still getting some of the same questions. So I've taken it on here to answer some of those for all of you here. Today, we're going to talk about a question about inconsistency. The quinceañera is a Latino and Hispanic tradition, but it's not celebrated by everybody. So the question is, why does one girl get a quinceañera and another don't? And that's what we're going to answer here today. So the quinceañera originally, in centuries past, was a rite of passage. It was closing the stage of a little girl and presenting her to the community as a woman. In modern times, we've inserted that young adult stage, so she's still closing out that stage of a little girl, but she's beginning this new stage of young woman. So it's still a threshold into a new stage. It's just been updated, modified because of the modern progression of child, young adult, adult. The quinceañera is also a coming of age celebration in modern times because she is closing that stage of a little girl. She is gaining decision making authority. She is maturing. And so, as a young woman, she's being presented on her path to being an adult in womanhood. And there are some cultures and there's some families that they look at the quinceañera as a rite of passage. And so they expect or even require their daughters to participate in a quinceañera. So if the mother's had a quinceañera, there's a good chance the daughter's going to have one. Now, will it be humble? Will it be lavish? There's some varying questions there on, how is she acting maturely? It also depends on the finances. Sometimes some of these families can't afford these lavish events, but they still are going to give her something so that she can participate in this traditional rite of passage. In other cultures and other families, if the young lady wants to celebrate her quinceañera, there's conditions that are going to be set that would need to be met. If they're going to celebrate her coming of age, then they're going to want to see some evidence that a functioning adult is being raised up in that young woman. And so places they're going to check on that are going to be things like education. They're going to question, is she being responsible for her schoolwork and her homework? Is she getting good grades? And it's not just getting straight A's. Is she at least being responsible enough to getting the highest grade attainable according to her learning abilities? So they're not looking at the honor roll, they're looking at how responsible she is being with her education. And then they're going to take a look at the social perspective of her, and it's going to have two categories too when it comes to the social. There's going to be the external, the public, and then there's going to be the internal within the home, within the domestic church. So looking external at first, and it's not about staying out of trouble, keeping your nose clean. She needs to be showing evidence that she can manage those social settings successfully. So they're going to take a look at, how is she doing in her neighborhood? How is she carrying herself in her community? How are things going at school with other students and teachers? And then when it comes to in home, in the domestic church, now, if she's a little girl and she has her own room, chances are, as a little girl, it's her responsibility to keep her room clean. When you are an adult and you move out of the home and you have your own home, guess whose responsibility is to make sure the whole house is clean? So, this young adult stage, there's a time to prepare to take care of the home and contribute to where you live. So there's not much joy in doing dishes. There's not much joy in sweeping and mopping, little to no joy in vacuuming, but it does teach them how to take care of the place they live. So when it comes to checking her maturity at home, it can be as simple as, does she have chores? And is she getting those chores done? And the quinceañera is not solely celebrated in Christianity. But if she's being raised in a Christian home, while these Christian parents are trying to raise good and upright citizens, they're also trying to raise good and upright Christians. And so they're going to check her Christian maturity and religious growth. Questions like, is she going to church? Is she paying attention while she's there? Is she living in the life of the church and in the life of Christ? Is there evidence that she is responsibly responding to the grace of God? So these are the conditions that are set when a family looks at it as a coming of age celebration. And depending on this scorecard, this might be the factor as to whether or not she gets to celebrate a quinceañera or not. And so these are the two main reasons why not all of them get to celebrate a quinceañera. Some young ladies will have a quinceañera and others don't. So maybe I missed something. Let me know in the comments where your family stands on this matter. And another thing, be sure to check out my website, Rite of the Quinceañera. It's www.riteofthequinceañera.com. You can find out more about me, more about my book, and we'll be back with some more answers. The next question I'm probably going to answer is a question I get about my book. So we'll see you back here, and we'll see you over at riteofthequinceañera.com. Bye.